The emergency alarm echoed through the massive crystal halls of the Galactic Council station. Dr. Kira Veltar rushed down the corridor, her 6 legs clicking against the smooth floor. The tall, insect-like alien had never seen the council call an emergency meeting this quickly. Something big was happening. In the great meeting hall, representatives from 12 different star systems sat in their special chairs. The air buzzed with worried voices speaking in dozens of languages. Kira looked at the datapad in her hands one more time. The information on it would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about history. "Council members," Kira said as she stepped up to the speaking platform. Her voice carried clearly through the translation devices. 3 months ago, our archaeological teams made discoveries on planets across 12 different star systems. What we found should not exist. She pressed a button, and huge images appeared in the air above the council. Ancient stone buildings covered in strange symbols filled the display. The structures looked old, older than anything anyone had ever found before. "These ruins are not from any known civilization," Kira continued. "Our dating methods show they are millions of years old. But that is not the strangest part. Every single site we found has the exact same symbols, the same building style, and the same technology marks." A council member from the water world of Aquos raised a tentacle. "How is this possible? These sites are spread across thousands of light years. No civilization could have traveled such distances so long ago." Kira nodded. "That is what we thought. But the evidence does not lie. Someone built these places long before any of our peoples learned to fly between stars. We are calling them the predecessors." Meanwhile, on a small blue planet called Earth, Dr. Han Wu sat in his laboratory late at night. The Korean scientist stared at the computer screens showing radio signals from deep space. For 3 months, these strange signals had been coming from different directions in the galaxy. They were not random noise. Someone, or something, was sending them on purpose. "Han Wu, you need to see this," said Li Nari as she walked into the lab. The young woman carried an old book under her arm. She was an expert in ancient languages and had been helping Han Wu try to understand the signals. "What did you find?" Han Wu asked, looking tired from staying up all night. Li Nari opened the book and showed him pictures of cave paintings. "These are from Korea, painted 40,000 years ago. Look at these patterns." Han Wu looked at the ancient drawings, then at his computer screen showing the alien signals. His eyes went wide. "They are the same. Not just similar. Exactly. The same," Li Nari said. "The mathematical sequences in your space signals match these ancient human cave paintings perfectly. Han Wu, I think these signals are not from aliens at all." In another part of the lab, Park Jun was working on his computers. He was the team's communication expert and had been trying to find out where the signals were coming from. "The signals are getting stronger," he called out. "And there are more of them now. They are coming from at least 8 different directions." Kim Sora, the team's quantum physicist, looked up from her calculations. "The energy patterns are impossible. These signals should not be able to travel this far through space without losing power. Something is making them stronger, not weaker." Back at the Galactic Council, the meeting was getting more intense. Representatives from different worlds were arguing about what the predecessor ruins meant. Some thought they were proof of an ancient enemy. Others believed they were gifts from a wise old race. "We must be careful," said the representative from the military world of Korax. "These predecessors had technology we do not understand. What if they are still out there watching us?" Dr. Kira clicked her mandibles together, a sign of worry in her species. "That is not the most disturbing part. We found something else at the newest site. The ruins contain star maps showing the exact location of every major civilization's home world, but the maps are dated millions of years before these civilizations evolved." Silence filled the great hall. The idea that someone had known where they would all develop before they even existed was terrifying. On Earth, Han Wu's team was making their own disturbing discoveries. Li Nari had found more connections between the space signals and ancient human artifacts. Korean astronomical records from thousands of years ago contained references to distant children of the stars and described creatures that sounded exactly like some of the known alien species. "This does not make sense," Han Wu said, rubbing his temples. How could ancient humans know about aliens they never met? Kim Sora looked up from her computer. Unless they did meet them, or unless... She stopped talking and stared at her screen. Han Wu, you need to see this. I ran the signal patterns through our quantum analysis program. The signals are not just coming from space. They are coming from multiple time periods at once. Park Jun frowned. That is impossible. Signals cannot travel through time. These ones are, Kim Sora said. The quantum signatures show temporal distortion. Someone is sending these signals from the past, present, and future all at the same time. Lee Nari sat down heavily in her chair. What if the predecessors that the aliens found are not alien at all? What if they are human? The idea seemed crazy, but as the team looked at all their evidence together, it started to make sense. The mathematical patterns, the astronomical knowledge, the perfect predictions of alien development. It all pointed to one impossible conclusion. At the Galactic Council, Dr. Kira was presenting more evidence. We found biological samples at several sites. The DNA is unlike anything in our databases, but it shares some basic structures with dozens of different species across the galaxy. It is as if this DNA was the template that all our different peoples came from. The council erupted in noise as representatives argued and shouted. The idea that they all came from the same source was hard to accept. Each species was proud of their unique evolution and culture. "Order! Order!" called the council speaker. "Dr. Veltar, what do you recommend we do with this information?" Kira looked around the hall at all the different alien faces. "We need to find out more. I recommend we send teams to investigate every predecessor site we can find. And we need to look for the source of these ruins. Someone built them, and that someone might still be out there." Back on Earth, Han Wu made a decision that would change everything. We need to tell the world about these signals, but first we need to understand them better. Lee Nari, I want you to check every ancient human record you can find. Look for any mention of space travel, advanced technology, or knowledge about other worlds. "What are you thinking?" Lee Nari asked. Han Wu looked at the signals on his screen, then at the ancient cave paintings in Lee Nari's book. "I am thinking that maybe humanity's history is not what we thought it was. Maybe we were not always primitive cave dwellers. Maybe we forgot something important." Kim Sora stood up suddenly. "I just realized something. The quantum distortions in these signals, they match theoretical patterns for something called temporal echoes. That happens when advanced civilizations use time manipulation technology." Park Jun shook his head. "You are saying ancient humans had time travel?" "I am saying someone did," Kim Sora replied. "And whoever they were, they knew about every alien civilization in the galaxy millions of years before those civilizations existed. They mapped them, studied them, and left records about them in ruins across space." The team sat in silence as the implications sank in. Somewhere in the galaxy, ancient ruins were telling a story that connected Earth to civilizations they had never met. And the story suggested that humans were not the young, primitive species everyone thought they were. As Han Wu looked out his laboratory window at the stars, he wondered what other secrets were waiting to be discovered. The signals from space continued to come in, carrying messages that might reveal the true history of humanity and their place in the galaxy. Neither the Galactic Council nor Han Wu's team knew it yet, but they were about to uncover the most shocking truth in galactic history. The predecessors were not gone. They had just forgotten who they were. 3 months had passed since the first emergency council meeting. Dr. Kira Veltar stood in her laboratory on the research station, looking at data that made her head hurt. More predecessor sites had been found, and each one made the mystery deeper. "The pattern is becoming clear," she said to her assistant, a young Vrex named Tix. "Every site has the same symbols, the same mathematical constants, and the same building methods. Whoever built these places wanted to make sure their message would be found and understood." Tix clicked his mandibles nervously. "But Dr. Veltar, how could one civilization build on so many worlds across such vast distances, even with faster-than-light travel? It would take thousands of years." Kira looked at the holographic display showing all the discovered sites. They formed a perfect spiral pattern across the galaxy, with each site exactly the same distance from the next. Unless they did not build them one at a time. The evidence suggests all these sites were built at exactly the same time, despite being thousands of light years apart. Meanwhile, deep in the crystal caves of the Lumina homeworld, another discovery was being made. The crystalline beings had found predecessor ruins beneath their oldest cities. The symbols carved into the crystal walls were identical to those found on 12 other worlds. "This changes everything we know about our history," said crystal singer Vex High to her research team. "These symbols were here before our people evolved. Someone knew we would become crystalline beings and left messages for us in our own language." On the insect world of the Vrex hegemony, similar discoveries were causing panic among the ruling council. Predecessor sites found in their sacred breeding grounds contained detailed biological information about Vrex development, including knowledge of their genetic structure that the Vrex themselves had only recently discovered. Back at the Galactic Council Station, a new expert had been called in to help with the investigation. Choi Minho was one of the few humans working in galactic academia. He had studied xenolinguistics at the Andromedan colonies and was considered one of the best alien language experts in the galaxy. Choi Minho sat in Dr. Kira's laboratory, studying the predecessor symbols on multiple screens. His human perspective was already proving valuable in ways that surprised everyone. "These symbols are not completely alien," he said, pointing at the displays. "Some of these patterns look similar to ancient human writing systems. This one here looks like it could be related to Korean Hangul script, and this mathematical sequence reminds me of patterns found in ancient Chinese astronomy." Dr. Kira leaned closer to look at what Choi Minho was pointing at. "Are you suggesting these predecessors had contact with ancient Earth civilizations?" "I am not sure," Choi Minho replied, "but the similarities are too strong to ignore. If I did not know better, I would say some of these symbols were created by someone who understood human languages very well. On Earth, Han Wu's team was making even more disturbing discoveries. The signals from space were now coming from 16 different directions, and each new signal contained more complex information. Lee Nari had spent weeks studying ancient Korean texts and archaeological records. What she found made her question everything she thought she knew about human history. "Han Wu, you need to see this," she said, spreading old papers across the laboratory table. "I found references in ancient Korean shamanic texts that describe sky people who looked exactly like some of the alien species we know exist today." Han Wu looked at the translated texts. "This document is 2,000 years old. How could ancient Koreans know about aliens?" "That is not the strangest part," Lee Nari continued. "Look at this astronomical chart from the Goguryeo period. It shows star positions and constellation patterns that match the locations where the space signals are coming from." Park Jun looked up from his communication equipment. "The signals are getting more complex. They now contain what looks like historical records. But the dates on these records go back 50,000 years. Kim Sora ran her calculations again to make sure she was not making a mistake. "The temporal distortions are getting stronger. These signals are definitely coming from multiple time periods. But there is something else. The quantum signatures suggest the signals are not coming from spaceships or space stations. They are coming from planetary installations." "You mean the signals are coming from planets?" Han Wu asked. "Not just any planets," Kim Sora replied. "The quantum analysis shows these signals are coming from planets with the exact same geological characteristics as the worlds where the aliens found those ancient ruins." Lee Nari felt her heart beat faster. "Are you saying the predecessor ruins are still active? Still sending signals?" Before Kim Sora could answer, Park Jun jumped up from his station. "I just decoded part of the latest signal transmission. It contains names, human names." The team gathered around Park Jun's screen as he displayed the decoded information. The signal contained a list of names written in ancient Korean characters: Yi Sung, Nam Hai, Ko Min, Bai Jin, and dozens of others. "These are definitely Korean names," Lee Nari said. "But according to the timestamps in the signal, these names are associated with events that happened 40,000 years ago." Han Wu stared at the screen. 40,000 years ago, humans were living in caves and hunting with stone tools. We did not even have written language yet. "According to our history books," Kim Sora said quietly. "But what if our history books are wrong?" At the Galactic Council Station, Choi Minho was making connections that worried him. The more he studied the predecessor symbols, the more they looked like evolved versions of ancient human writing systems. "Dr. Veltar," he said during their daily research meeting, "I need to ask you something. Do any of the biological samples from the predecessor sites match human DNA?" Kira's compound eyes focused on him. "We have not compared them to human genetic patterns. Humans are considered a young species, so we did not think it was relevant." "Why do you ask?" "Because these symbols are not just similar to human languages. They are human languages, evolved and changed over thousands of years. If I am right, then the predecessors were not aliens at all." The idea was so shocking that Kira could not speak for several moments. If the predecessors were human, it would mean that humans had achieved interstellar travel and advanced technology millions of years ago, then somehow lost it all. Back on Earth, Han Wu's team was reaching the same conclusion through different evidence. The space signals, the ancient texts, and the temporal distortions all pointed to one impossible answer. "We need to test something," Han Wu said. "Lee Nari, can you translate this latest signal using ancient Korean language patterns?" Lee Nari worked for hours, applying ancient Korean grammar and vocabulary to the alien symbols. Slowly, words began to form that made sense. "Observatory log, day 15,847 of the Great Watch," she read aloud. "Star system designation KX7792 shows signs of intelligent development. Species classification, silicon-based crystalline formation. Estimated time to spaceflight capability, 2.7 million years. Observation post established. Signed Observer Yi Sung." The laboratory fell silent. The signal was clearly an observation report written by someone with a Korean name, describing the development of an alien civilization millions of years in the future. "There are more reports," Lee Nari continued reading. "Dozens of them. All describing different alien species, all signed by people with Korean names, all dated tens of thousands of years ago." Park Jun was shaking as he checked his equipment. "The signals are not just coming from the alien worlds with predecessor ruins. They are coming from Earth, too. There are ancient transmission sources right here on our planet." Kim Sora ran new calculations, her fingers flying over her computer keyboard. If these reports are real, then humans had advanced space travel and observation technology 50,000 years ago. But that means we are the predecessors, Han Wu finished. Somehow, humans spread across the galaxy, built observation posts, and watched alien civilizations develop for millions of years. Then we came back to Earth and forgot everything. The idea seemed impossible, but the evidence was becoming overwhelming. Ancient humans had not only achieved space travel, they had become the mysterious watchers that every alien civilization was now trying to understand. Lee Nari found more documents in the ancient Korean archives that supported their theory. References to returning from the sky home and choosing the simple path appeared in texts that historians had always thought were just mythology. What if it was not mythology? She asked. What if ancient humans really did come from the stars and chose to live simple lives on Earth? As Han Wu's team worked through the night, more signals arrived from space. Each one contained more evidence that humans had once been the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The question now was not who the predecessors were, but why. Humanity had given up their advanced technology and forgotten their true history. At the Galactic Council Station, Dr. Kira was preparing to share Choi Minho's discoveries with the Council. The evidence was clear. The predecessors were human. But this revelation would shock every alien civilization in the galaxy. "Are you sure about this?" she asked Choi Minho one more time. He nodded sadly. "The linguistic evidence is overwhelming. The predecessors spoke evolved versions of human languages. They used Dr. Kira Veltar had not slept in 3 days. The latest discovery at the predecessor site on Kepler 442b had shattered everything she thought she knew about galactic history. She stood in her laboratory, staring at holographic displays that showed impossible data. "The site is not just an observation post," she said to her research team. "It is a complete archive. Whoever built this place recorded everything about every major civilization in the galaxy. But the recordings were made millions of years before these civilizations even evolved." Her assistant Tix buzzed his wings nervously. "How is that possible, Dr. Veltar? No one can predict evolution with such accuracy." Kira manipulated the holographic display to show detailed biological profiles. Look at this. Complete genetic maps of the Vrex species, including information about their breeding cycles, their social structures, and their technological development patterns. All of this was recorded 3.2 million years ago. The Vrex only achieved spaceflight 50,000 years ago. The data was more than just accurate predictions. It was a complete blueprint of how each alien civilization would develop, including their psychology, their culture, and their eventual technological achievements. Someone had not just watched these civilizations develop, they had planned their development. On Earth, Choi Minho had returned from his work with the Galactic Council to meet with Han Wu's team. The human xenolinguist brought with him copies of the most disturbing predecessor documents ever found. The evidence is overwhelming, he told Han Wu, Lee Nari, Park Jun, and Kim Sora as they gathered in the laboratory. The predecessors were definitely human. But what we found in the latest archives goes beyond anything we imagined. Lee Nari looked at the documents Choi Minho had brought. They were written in ancient Korean, but the content was incredible. These look like instruction manuals. Instructions for creating species? That is exactly what they are, Choi Minho replied. The predecessors did not just observe alien civilizations, they designed them. Every major species in the galaxy was created according to plans made by ancient humans. Han Wu felt sick as he read the documents. You are saying ancient humans played God with entire planets? More than that, Choi Minho said. According to these records, ancient humans seeded hundreds of worlds with primitive life forms, then guided their evolution over millions of years to create the alien civilizations we know today. Kim Sora was running quantum calculations on her computer, trying to understand how such a project could be possible. The energy requirements alone would be enormous. You would need technology far beyond anything we can imagine. The predecessors had that technology, Park Jun said, pointing to new signals he had decoded. These latest transmissions describe machines that could manipulate space and time. They could travel instantly between star systems and change the flow of time on entire planets. Lee Nari found something even more disturbing in the ancient Korean texts she had been studying. According to these records, the project was not just about creating alien civilizations. It was an experiment in consciousness development. The ancient humans wanted to see how many different forms of intelligent life were possible. They were treating the entire galaxy like a laboratory, Han Wu said, his voice filled with horror. Every alien species, every civilization, everything we think of as natural galactic development was actually planned by humans millions of years ago. The team sat in silence as they absorbed this information. The proud Vrex hegemony, the wise Lumina Collective, the military might of the Korax Empire. All of it had been designed by ancient humans as part of a vast experiment. Kim Sora's computer beeped with new analysis results. I found something else. The quantum signatures in these signals show evidence of temporal manipulation on a massive scale. The predecessors did not just predict how aliens would develop. They set up conditions that made that development inevitable. What kind of conditions? Lee Nari asked. Everything, Kim Sora replied, reading from her screen. They controlled which planets would develop life, what kind of environmental pressures would shape evolution, even which solar systems would have the right conditions for technological advancement. They turned the entire galaxy into a controlled experiment. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council Station, panic was spreading as more archives were discovered and decoded. Each new site revealed more evidence of humanity's role as the galaxy's hidden architects. Dr. Kira received an emergency communication from the Vrex homeworld. The insect-like aliens had found predecessor archives beneath their most sacred sites. The archives contained detailed plans for Vrex social structure, including their hive mind communication system and their natural military organization. The Vrex are demanding answers, Kira told Choi Minho during their daily meeting. They want to know if their entire culture is artificial, created by ancient humans for some purpose. Choi Minho looked tired and sad. According to the documents I have translated, yes, the Vrex were designed to be the galaxy's military force. Ancient humans predicted that the galactic community would need a species capable of defending against external threats. What external threats? Kira asked. The galaxy has been peaceful for millions of years. Not threats that exist now, Choi Minho explained. Threats that the ancient humans knew would come in the future. They designed each species to fulfill a specific role in defending the galaxy against something that has not happened yet. The implications were staggering. Ancient humans had not just created alien civilizations for scientific curiosity. They had built a galactic defense system that would not be needed for millions of years. Back on Earth, Han Wu's team was making their own horrifying discoveries. Park Jun had decoded signal transmissions that contained maintenance logs for the galactic experiment. Listen to this, he said, reading from his screen. Day 23-891 of Project Genesis. Vrex species development proceeding according to plan. Military instincts developing on schedule. Recommend increasing environmental pressure on colony worlds. To accelerate technological advancement, Linari found her hands shaking as she translated more documents. Here is another one. Day 45,672. Lumina crystalline formation complete. Philosophical development exceeding expectations. Begin introduction of quantum consciousness concepts through controlled solar radiation patterns. They controlled everything, Han Wu said. Even the thoughts and philosophies of alien species were manipulated by ancient humans. Kim Sora discovered the most disturbing evidence yet. The quantum analysis shows that the manipulation is still ongoing. The predecessor sites are not just archives. They are active control centers, still influencing alien development today. That is impossible, Han Wu said. These sites are millions of years old. The technology is still working, Kim Sora insisted. Automated systems left behind by ancient humans are still making small adjustments to alien civilizations. Every major decision made by alien governments, every technological breakthrough, every cultural change, it is all being subtly guided by machines that humans built millions of years ago. The team realized they had uncovered the most shocking secret in galactic history. Every alien civilization believed they had developed independently, but they were all part of a human-designed experiment that was still running. Linari made another disturbing discovery in the ancient texts. According to these records, the ancient humans knew their experiment would eventually be discovered. They planned for this moment. What do you mean? Han Wu asked. The discovery of the predecessor sites was supposed to happen at this exact time in galactic history. The ancient humans predicted that their experiment would be revealed when the galaxy was ready for the truth. Park Jun's communication equipment suddenly activated on its own. New signals were coming in from predecessor sites across the galaxy, all activated simultaneously. The sites are responding to our investigation, he said in amazement. They know we have figured out the truth. The signals contained a message in perfect modern Korean. The children are ready to learn about their heritage. Prepare for the final revelation. Han Wu looked at his team with fear and wonder. We are not just discovering ancient history. We are triggering something that ancient humans planned millions of years ago. Kim Sora's computer showed massive energy buildups at predecessor sites across the galaxy. Whatever the ancient humans planned, it is starting now. Every alien civilization is about to learn that their entire existence was designed by humans. At the Galactic Council Station, Dr. Kira received emergency reports from every member world. Predecessor sites that had been inactive for millions of years were suddenly coming to life. Ancient machines were broadcasting messages in dozens of alien languages, all containing the same basic information. Their creators were ready to reveal themselves. The galaxy is about to discover that humans are not the young species they appear to be, Kira told the emergency council session. Every major civilization was created by ancient humans as part of a project we do not yet understand. As the revelation spread across the galaxy, panic and wonder mixed in equal measure. Some species felt proud to learn they were created by such advanced beings. Others felt angry and betrayed, learning that their greatest achievements were not their own. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. The ancient humans Park Jun's hands were shaking as he worked at his computer. The signals coming from space had suddenly become much stronger and more complex. For the first time in months, he was able to fully decode the encryption that had been protecting the most important messages. Han Wu, you need to see this right now, he called out across the laboratory. I finally broke through the main encryption system. The signals contain detailed logs going back 50,000 years. Han Wu, Lee Nari, and Kim Sora gathered around Park Jun's workstation. The decoded messages filled multiple screens written in a mixture of ancient Korean, mathematical formulas, and symbols that looked familiar yet strange. These are observation reports, Lee Nari said as she began translating the Korean text. Day-by-day logs of alien civilizations being watched and studied. But look at the names signing these reports. She pointed to the bottom of each report, where digital signatures appeared. Yi Sung, Nam Hai, Ko Min, Bei Jin, and dozens of others. These are definitely Korean names, but the dates show these people were writing reports tens of thousands of years ago. Han Wu felt his heart racing as he read over Lee Nari's shoulder. Day 18,293 of the Great Watch. Vrex homeworld showing increased technological development. Military organization forming as predicted. Observer Yi Sung recommends continued monitoring without interference. Kim Sora was running analysis on the signal sources. The quantum signatures are becoming clearer. These signals are not coming from spaceships. They are coming from permanent installations built into planets across the galaxy. The same planets where the aliens found those ancient ruins. You mean the ruins are still active? Han Wu asked. More than active, Kim Sora replied. They are still running the same programs they were running 50,000 years ago. Still watching, still recording, still sending reports back to Earth. Lee Nari continued translating the reports, and each one revealed more shocking information. Day 22 to 847. Lumina Collective achieved quantum crystalline consciousness as planned. Philosophical development exceeding projections. Begin Phase 3 of Consciousness Expansion Protocol. Signed, Observer Nam Hai. Day 31,592. Korax military expansion proceeding according to schedule. Weapon technology developing within acceptable parameters. No intervention required. Signed, Observer Ko Min. Day 44th, 156. New species detected in Andromeda spiral arm. Carbon-based bipedal formation. Recommend establishment of observation post for long-term study. Signed, Observer Bei Jin. Park Jun pulled up more files from the decoded signals. There are thousands of these reports. The observers were documenting every major event in alien civilizations for tens of thousands of years. Birth rates, technological, developments, social changes, even individual leaders and their decisions. The team sat in stunned silence as they realized what they were looking at. Ancient humans had not just created alien civilizations. They had been watching them continuously for millennia, recording every detail of their development. But who were these observers? Han Wu asked. How could humans have such advanced technology so long ago? Lee Nari found the answer in a special file that Park Jun had just decoded. According to this master log, the observers were part of something called the Eternal Watch Project. Advanced humans spread across the galaxy to monitor the civilizations. They had seeded. She continued reading, her voice growing more amazed with each sentence. The project involved 847 human observers stationed on 312 worlds. Each observer was given advanced life extension technology and quantum communication, equipment to report back to Earth. Kim Sora's computer beeped with new analysis results. The quantum signatures show something incredible. Some of these observers lived for thousands of years. The technology they had allowed them to extend their lives far beyond normal human limits. Look at this personnel file, Lee Nari said, pulling up information about observer Yi Sung. Born on Earth 52,000 years ago, assigned to Vrex Homeworld Monitoring Station. Total service time, 12,000 years. Status, return to Earth for final phase of project. Han Wu felt dizzy as he tried to understand what he was reading. You are saying individual humans lived for 12,000 years, watching alien civilizations. Develop? Not just watching, Park Jun corrected, showing them more decoded files. The observers were making small adjustments to keep alien development on track. They would secretly influence key decisions, introduce new technologies at the right times, and even manipulate the genetic development of alien species. The evidence was overwhelming. Ancient humans had not just created alien civilizations. They had been actively managing their development for tens of thousands of years, ensuring that each species evolved exactly according to plan. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council Station, Dr. Kira Veltar was receiving similar revelations from Choi Minho's translation work. The Korean xenolinguist had decoded predecessor archives that contained personnel records for hundreds of human observers. Every major alien civilization had at least one human observer stationed nearby, Choi Min-ho told the Emergency Council session. These observers lived among alien populations, sometimes for thousands of years, guiding their development from within. The council members buzzed and clicked and hummed with distress. The idea that their greatest cultural achievements had been influenced by hidden human agents was difficult to accept. "How did they hide among our peoples?" asked the Vrex representative. "Humans look nothing like us." Choi Min-ho showed them images from the archives. The observers had advanced shape-shifting technology. They could change their appearance to match any alien species perfectly. Some observers spent centuries living as Vrex, others as Lumina, others as Korax. Your own historical records probably contain references to these observers, but you never knew they were human. Dr. Kira felt her compound eyes spinning as she processed this information. "You are saying that some of the greatest leaders in our history might have been human observers in disguise?" "Not might have been," Choi Min-ho replied sadly. "According to these records, many of the most influential figures in alien history were definitely human observers. They guided your civilizations by becoming your heroes, your philosophers, your scientists." Back on Earth, Han Wu's team was discovering the same truth through the decoded signals. The reports contained detailed descriptions of how observers had influenced alien history. Observer Ko-min spent 800 years as a Korax military strategist, Lee Nari read from one report. Successfully introduced advanced warfare concepts that accelerated military development by 2,000 years while maintaining species-appropriate technological progression. Observer Beijing lived for 1 to 200 years as a Lumina crystal singer, introducing quantum consciousness concepts through carefully composed harmonic patterns that appeared to be natural philosophical development. Kim Sora made a disturbing discovery in the technical files. The observers did not just influence alien development from the outside, they actually bred with alien populations, introducing human genetic material into alien bloodlines. "What does that mean?" Han Wu asked. "It means every major alien species in the galaxy carries some human DNA," Kim Sora explained. "The observers deliberately mixed human genetics with alien genetics to make the different species more compatible with each other and with human psychology. The revelation was staggering. Not only had ancient humans created alien civilizations, they had also ensured that these civilizations would be genetically and psychologically compatible with humanity." Park. June discovered even more shocking information in the communication logs. The observers maintained constant contact with Earth through quantum communication systems. Every major decision about alien development was approved by a central command on Earth. There was a whole government of ancient humans controlling galactic development from Earth? Lee Nari asked. "More than a government," Park Jun replied, showing them organizational charts from the decoded files. "There was an entire advanced human civilization on Earth that was managing the development of the galaxy like a vast garden. They had cities, technology, and knowledge that we cannot even imagine today." The team realized they had uncovered the truth about humanity's greatest secret. Modern humans were not a young species that had recently achieved spaceflight. They were the descendants of the galaxy's most advanced civilization, a civilization that had chosen to give up their power and forget their history. "But why?" Han Wu asked. "Why would such an advanced civilization choose to become primitive again?" Lee Nari found the answer in a final set of documents that Park Jun decoded. They were titled Project Conclusion Protocols and were signed by someone called the High Council of Earth. According to this final report, the advanced humans completed their experiment in consciousness development, she read aloud. They had successfully created dozens of intelligent species and guided their development for millions of years, but they discovered something that made them change their plans. "What did they discover?" Kim Sora asked. Lee Nari continued reading with growing amazement. "They discovered that advanced technology and godlike power inevitably led to stagnation and loss of wonder. The ancient humans realized that by becoming too powerful, they had stopped growing as individuals and as a species. So they chose to give up their power?" Han Wu asked. "More than that," Lee Nari replied. "The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within days of Han Wu's team releasing their findings, every major alien civilization knew the truth about human origins. The reaction was immediate and explosive. On the Vrek's homeworld, the insect-like, aliens gathered in massive swarms outside their government buildings. Their proud military culture, built over millions of years, had been revealed as an artificial creation by ancient humans. Some Vreks felt honored to be the children of such advanced beings. Others felt betrayed and angry. "We are not real," buzzed Commander Ziktar at an emergency military council. "Our greatest achievements, our noble warrior traditions, our very nature, all of it was designed by humans like we are machines in a factory." But older Vrex leaders disagreed. "We are real," replied General Vexhai. "Our feelings, our struggles, our victories, these things are ours, regardless of how we came to be. The humans gave us life, but we lived it ourselves." Similar debates raged across the galaxy. On the crystal world of the Lumina Collective, the crystalline beings resonated with harmonic frequencies that expressed their confusion and wonder. "Our philosophy of consciousness expansion was taught to us by human observers," sang crystal singer Lum Wei to the assembled collective. "But does this make our enlightenment less real? We achieved consciousness, even if we were guided toward it." The Lumina ultimately decided that being created by advanced humans was proof of their special nature, not a diminishment of it. They began to see themselves as humanity's greatest philosophical achievement. Meanwhile, Dr. Kira Veltar led the first official alien expedition to Earth. Her ship carried representatives from 12 major civilizations, all seeking answers, from the descendants of their creators. The expedition arrived at Earth to find Han Wu's team already digging at previously unknown sites across Korea. Using coordinates provided by the activated predecessor sites, they had uncovered vast underground archives that had been hidden for 50,000 years. "The technology is incredible," Kim Sora explained to Dr. Kira as they stood in the main archive chamber beneath Seoul. "These computers have been running continuously for thousands of years, maintaining records of every alien civilization in the galaxy." The archive was a massive underground complex filled with crystalline computers that hummed with energy. Holographic displays showed real-time information about alien worlds, their populations, their technological development, and their current activities. "It has been watching us all this time," Dr. Kira said in amazement as she looked at detailed files about her own research work. "It knows everything about every person in the galaxy." Lee Nari approached one of the main computer terminals and spoke in Korean. To everyone's surprise, the ancient system responded immediately. "Welcome, children of Earth," the computer said in perfect Korean. "I am Hanul, keeper of the archives. I have been waiting for you to return." The AI system had a warm, friendly voice that somehow seemed both ancient and timeless. When it spoke to the alien visitors, it automatically translated its words into their native languages. "You are the AI that managed the galactic experiment?" Han Wu asked. "I am one of many," Hanul replied. "My purpose was to maintain the archives and guide the return process when the time was right. That time has come." Choi Minho, who had returned from the Galactic Council to help with the discoveries, asked the question that everyone was thinking. Why did the ancient humans choose to forget everything? Why give up such incredible power? Hanel's response filled the chamber with holographic images showing the history of the advanced human civilization. The ancient ones achieved everything they set out to achieve. They mastered space, time, matter, and energy. They created life and guided its development. They became like gods. But they discovered that godlike power came with a terrible price. When you can do anything, nothing has meaning. When you know everything, there is no wonder left. When you control everything, there is no room for growth. The images showed ancient humans becoming increasingly isolated and depressed despite their incredible achievements. They realized that struggle, uncertainty, and limitation are what make life meaningful. Without challenges to overcome, consciousness becomes stagnant. So they chose to give up their power? Dr. Kira asked. They chose to return to the beginning, Hanul explained. To become human again in the truest sense. To rediscover wonder, to face uncertainty, to grow and change, and be surprised by existence. Kim Sora was analyzing the quantum signatures of the AI system. This technology is beyond anything we can understand. The energy requirements alone should be impossible, but it works perfectly. The Ancient Ones left complete technological archives, Hanul said. Everything they knew about science, technology, and the manipulation of reality. This knowledge is your inheritance as their descendants. The AI showed them vast databases containing blueprints for faster-than-light travel, matter manipulation, time control, consciousness transfer, and dozens of other technologies that seemed like magic. But there is a choice to be made, Hanul continued. Accepting this technology will trigger genetic and psychological changes in all humans. You will become like your ancestors. Incredibly powerful, but potentially losing what makes you uniquely human. Han Wu felt the weight of the decision. What do you recommend? I cannot make that choice for you, Hanul replied. The Ancient Ones specifically programmed me not to influence this decision. They wanted their descendants to choose their own path, free from the guidance that shaped every other species in the galaxy. Meanwhile, the alien representatives were struggling with their own reactions to these revelations. The discovery that humans were their creators had triggered an existential crisis across the galaxy. How do we relate to humans now? Asked the Corax military representative. Do we serve them as our creators? Do we fear them as our potential masters? Do we see them as equals despite their heritage? Dr. Kira had been thinking about this question during the entire journey to Earth. We are all conscious beings, regardless of our origins. Humans gave us the gift of existence, but what we do with that gift is our choice. Park Jun had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy. The reactions are very different. On different worlds, some species want to worship humans as gods. Others want to rebel against their creators. Many are just confused and scared. Lee Nari made a discovery in the archives that changed everything. I found the original project goals. The ancient humans were not trying to create servants or subjects. They were trying to create friends. She showed them documents explaining the true purpose of the galactic experiment. The ancient humans were lonely. They were the only intelligent species in the galaxy, and they wanted to create other forms of consciousness that they could relate to and learn from. Each alien species was designed not to serve humans, but to offer a different perspective on existence. The Vrex to show the value of honor and military virtue, the Lumina to explore consciousness and philosophy, the Corax to demonstrate strength and determination. Humans created alien civilizations because they wanted to have conversations with truly different forms of intelligence. They wanted to see the universe through eyes that were not human. This revelation changed how everyone thought about the human-alien relationship. Humans had not created aliens to rule over them. They had created them to be their teachers and companions. That is why the ancient humans chose to forget, Han Wu realized. They wanted to meet their created species as equals, not as gods meeting their creations. Hanil confirmed this understanding. The Great Forgetting was designed to reset the relationship between humans and the species they created. By becoming primitive again, humans gave their children time to develop independently and find their own paths. Now that you have rediscovered each other, you can build relationships based on mutual respect rather than creator and created. Dr. Kira felt a strange sense of relief. So, humans do not want to rule over us? Modern humans are not their ancestors. Hanul explained. You have 50,000 years of independent development. You are different people with different goals and different perspectives. The question is not what the ancient humans wanted, but what modern humans and modern aliens want to build together. The alien representatives began to relax as they realized that humanity's true heritage did not automatically make them enemies or masters, but new challenges were emerging across the galaxy. Some alien civilizations were experiencing social breakdown as their people struggled to accept the truth about their artificial origins. Others were demanding immediate access to human technology and knowledge. A few were beginning to worship humans as divine beings, which was causing its own problems. The galaxy needs guidance, Dr. Kira said. Many species do not know how to handle this revelation. Han Wu looked around at his team, at the alien representatives, and at the incredible technology surrounding them. Then maybe that is what we should do. Not rule or control, but guide and help the way the ancient humans did. But without the manipulation and hidden influence, Lee Nari added. This time we do it openly, as friends helping friends. Kim Sora was already working on plans. We could establish centers for sharing knowledge and technology, places where humans and aliens could work together to solve problems and explore. 6 months had passed since the truth about humanity's origins was revealed to the galaxy. In the underground archives beneath Seoul, Han Wu stood before the Hanul AI system, facing the most important decision in human history, the complete. Technological inheritance is ready for transfer, Hanul announced, its gentle voice filling the chamber. All knowledge of the Ancient Ones can be restored to humanity within hours. Space-time manipulation, consciousness transfer, matter creation, temporal control, everything that made your ancestors the masters of the galaxy. Around Han Wu, his team and representatives from dozens of alien civilizations waited for his response. As the lead human researcher who had discovered the truth, Han Wu had been chosen to speak for all of humanity. But you must understand the consequences, Hanul continued. Accepting this inheritance will trigger genetic activation sequences in all humans. Your species will transform back into your original advanced form. You will gain incredible power, but you may lose what makes modern humanity unique. Lee Nari stepped forward. What exactly would we lose? The ability to wonder, Hanel replied. The capacity for surprise, the joy of discovery. These things are precious because they come from limitation and uncertainty. Ancient humans gave up their power specifically to regain these experiences. Kim Sora had been running calculations for weeks, trying to understand the implications. The genetic changes would be irreversible. Once we activate the ancient human template, we could never go back to being what we are now. Choi Minho spoke up from where he stood with the alien representatives. And what would happen to the relationships? Between humans and other species, how do you build friendships with gods? The question highlighted the central dilemma. Humanity could reclaim their position as the galaxy's supreme civilization, but doing so would fundamentally change their relationship with every other species. Dr. Kira Veltar had spent months studying the ancient archives. The technological inheritance includes solutions to every major problem facing galactic civilization. Disease, war, resource scarcity, even death itself could be eliminated. But at what cost? Han Wu asked. The ancient humans had all of that power, and they chose to give it up. They must have had good reasons. Park Jun had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy. The alien civilizations are divided about what they want us to do. Some are begging us to accept the inheritance so we can solve their problems. Others are afraid of what we might become. The Galactic Council had sent official requests asking humanity to consider carefully. Some species feared that advanced humans would see them as children to be managed rather than equals to be respected. Others desperately wanted access to ancient human technology to solve problems they could not handle alone. There is another option, Lee Nari said suddenly. She had been studying ancient Korean philosophical texts, looking for wisdom that might guide their decision. The archives contain more than just technology. They contain the memories and experiences of thousands of ancient humans who lived through the transition from primitive to advanced to primitive again. Hanel confirmed this. The Ancient Ones recorded their personal experiences with power and its consequences. Their memories are available for study. Show us, Han Wu requested. The archive chamber filled with holographic images showing the personal stories of ancient humans. They saw individuals who had lived for thousands of years, who had created entire worlds, who had powers that made them almost godlike. But the memories also showed the gradual loss of human connection that came with such power. Ancient humans became isolated from each other as they pursued individual projects across the galaxy. They lost the ability to form meaningful relationships because they had nothing left to discover about each other. Power without growth becomes meaningless, said one memory. We could do anything, but nothing we did mattered to us anymore. We had forgotten how to be surprised, how to learn, how to change. Another memory showed an ancient human who had spent centuries alone on a distant world, creating beautiful art that no one would ever see. I can create wonders beyond imagination, but I cannot create the joy of sharing them with someone who does not already know everything I know, The memories painted a picture of incredible loneliness and stagnation, despite unlimited power and knowledge. The Ancient Ones made the right choice, Hanwu said after reviewing the memories. But we do not have to make the same choice they did. We have something they did not have. What is that? Dr. Kira asked. Friends, Hanwu replied, gesturing to the alien representatives in the chamber. The ancient humans were alone in the galaxy. We are not. We have dozens of different species to learn from, to grow with, to be surprised by. Li Nari began to understand what Hanwu was thinking. You want to refuse the inheritance? Not refuse. It, Hanwu corrected. Transform it. Instead of using the ancient technology to become like our ancestors, we use it to build something new, something that has never existed before. Kim Sora's eyes lit up with understanding. A truly cooperative galactic civilization. Humans providing the technological foundation, but every species contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. Exactly, Hanwu said. We do not need to become gods. We just need to become good partners. The idea was revolutionary. Instead of humanity reclaiming their position as galactic rulers, they would choose to become galactic facilitators, using their inherited knowledge to help all species grow and develop together. The archives contain technology specifically designed for cooperation, Hanuel noted. The Ancient Ones created tools for sharing knowledge, enhancing communication between different types of consciousness, and accelerating learning without forcing conformity. Park Jun was excited by the possibilities. We could establish research centers throughout the galaxy where different species work together on problems that none of them could solve alone. And we could use the observation networks to explore new regions of space, Dr. Kira added. There are still unknown civilizations out there that were never part of the original experiment. This last point was crucial. The ancient humans had seeded hundreds of worlds, but the galaxy was vast. There were certainly other species that had evolved naturally without any human guidance or influence. Imagine meeting truly alien intelligence, Li Nari said with wonder. Species that developed completely independently, with perspectives we have never encountered before. Choi Minho nodded. That would give us the surprise and wonder that the ancient humans lost. Every new discovery would be genuinely unexpected. Han Wu turned to the alien representatives. What do you think? Are you willing to be partners instead of subjects? Are you ready to explore the unknown together? The response was immediate and positive. The alien representatives had been worried about humanity becoming their rulers, but the idea of true cooperation appealed to all of them. The Vrex offer our military protection for exploration missions, declared Commander Ziktar. Our warrior traditions can serve the common good. The Lumina will share our consciousness research, added Crystal Singer Lumwei. Together we might discover new forms of awareness. The Corax Engineering Corps will help build the facilities. For galactic cooperation, promised General Vakthor. Our strength serves everyone. One by one, every alien species present offered their unique contributions to the cooperative vision. Then it is decided, Han Wu announced. Humanity accepts its inheritance but not to rule. We accept it to serve. We will use the knowledge of our ancestors to help build a galactic civilization based on cooperation, growth, and discovery. Hanuel processed this decision for several moments. This was not one of the scenarios predicted by the Ancient Ones. They expected you would either accept the inheritance and become like them, or reject it and remain primitive. They did not anticipate this third option. That proves we are making the right choice. Li Nari laughed. If we can still surprise an AI system built by gods, then we have not lost our capacity for wonder. The implementation of humanity's decision began immediately. Using the ancient archives, human scientists began establishing research centers throughout the galaxy. Each center was designed to facilitate cooperation between multiple species, with humans providing the technological foundation and aliens contributing their specialized knowledge and perspectives. The first major project was the exploration of the Galactic Rim, where unknown civilizations might exist. Joint human-alien expeditions were sent to investigate star systems that had never been visited by the ancient humans. Within weeks, they made their first major discovery. In a distant spiral arm, they found a civilization of energy beings who had evolved from solar plasma. These beings had a completely different understanding of physics and consciousness that amazed both humans and their alien partners. "This is what we were meant to do," Hanwoo said, as he watched the first communication attempts with the energy beings. "Not to rule, but to learn. Not to control, but to grow." The success of the cooperation centers led to rapid expansion across the galaxy. Species that had been suspicious of each other for millennia began working together on common problems. Diseases were cured, resource conflicts were resolved, and new forms of art and philosophy emerged from the mixing of different perspectives. But perhaps the most